Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Foreclosure Help 777, where we talk about everything foreclosure related. And today, we're going to talk about an interesting subject that I know a lot of y'all have been talking about, especially recently. So let's get into it. Okay, today's subject is your foreclosure time barred? Okay, it's really good to know the statute of limitations on your foreclosure. Know your rights, know the law, and protect your home. So this is what our subject is today. Before we get started, let's go over the verse of the day. Okay, the verse of the day is Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Okay, so even in the law, there is a time limit, and if that time passes, the rights can be lost. And that's kind of goes with today's subject as well. Okay, so what is the statute of limitations? It's a legal deadline. It limits how long a lender has to file a foreclosure or enforce the note. If they wait too long, they may lose the right to enforce the debt. Why this matters in foreclosure? Foreclosure is based on the note, which is the contract, and the mortgage, which is the security. If the note becomes unenforceable, the foreclosure can fail. When does the clock start? This is when people get confused. Let's break it down. The clock usually starts when the loan is accelerated, or if the borrower defaults and the lender demands full payment. So the key concept is here, acceleration is everything. So most people think the clock starts when they stop paying, but that's not always true. Acceleration explained, and this is critical, guys, explained in plain language. Acceleration is when the lender says, you owe me the full balance now. And you can get a letter from them that's dated, and that's your date shows when it starts. It happens when you get that demand letter or a foreclosure filing, notice of default in some states, and especially in judicial foreclosure states. The notice of default is often required. So this is a huge issue that people miss. What is deacceleration? That's where lenders try to cancel acceleration and restart the clock. Banks don't just sit there and lose. They try to reset the clock. So different states have different time limits. So Florida is 5 years, New York is 6 years, Virginia is generally 6 years for contracts, but foreclosure's timing can be based on the note enforcement. So this is state specific, so you must check your state law. Common scenarios where foreclosures may be time barred. Okay, old foreclosure filed, been dismissed, loan accelerated years ago, no action taken for a long period, repeated delays without new acceleration. If the bank accelerated your loan years ago and did nothing, then they may have run out of time. What the banks will argue. Banks will say, we deaccelerated, new default restarted the clock. Each missed payment is a new breach. This builds their credibility. But why is this defense so powerful? Can it kill the foreclosure entirely? Not just delay it. It forces the lender to prove the timeline. So this is not automatic. Just because time passes doesn't mean you win. You have to raise it properly and prove it. So call to action. If your foreclosure has been dragging on for years, don't assume the bank can still enforce it. Start looking at your timeline. You might have a powerful defense. So time matters in foreclosure, and sometimes time is on your side. The statute of limitation is your foreclosure time barred. Here's some foundational understanding, guys. The statute of limitations is a legal deadline to enforce rights. It applies to the note, the contract, and not just the foreclosure itself. If the note is unenforceable, the foreclosure can collapse. This is an affirmative defense. You must raise it. Courts will not apply it automatically, so you must assert it. Timing when the clock starts. The clock does not always start at the first missed payment. The key trigger is usually acceleration of the debt. Acceleration is when the lender demands the full balance immediately. This often happens through a default letter or foreclosure filing. Once accelerated, the statute of limitations begins running. Acceleration, and this is a critical concept. Acceleration is one of the most misunderstood issues in foreclosure. Without acceleration, lenders may argue each missed payment is separate. With acceleration, the entire debt becomes due at once. That means one clock, not many. Proving acceleration can make or break your defense. Deacceleration. This is the bank's strategy. Lenders often try to undo acceleration. This is called deacceleration. They may send letters claiming they withdraw acceleration. Courts are split on whether they actually resets the clock. Not all deaccelerations are legally valid. State-specific rules. Each state has different time limits, 5 years, 6 years, etc. Some states treat installment loans differently. Some states allow reacceleration, others don't easily. Knowing your state law is absolutely critical. Federal courts will still apply state statute of limitations law. So if your case is in federal court, don't worry, you can still use the statute of limitations on them. Common time-barred scenarios. A foreclosure filed years ago and then dismissed. A loan accelerated but no action taken afterwards. Multiple delays without a new valid acceleration. Long gaps in enforcement activity. Servicers changing, but timeline continued underneath. Let's talk about something a lot of people don't realize. You might have a second mortgage that has been sitting there for 10 years or longer. No payments, no contact, then suddenly it comes back to life. That is what we call a zombie second mortgage. What is a zombie second mortgage? It is a second lien or a HELOC or a piggyback loan. Borrower stopped paying years ago, lender went silent, then suddenly sends a demand letter, starts collection, and threatens foreclosure. Why this happens? First mortgage stayed current, no foreclosure pressure. Second lien holders wait to see if property gains equity. They don't act immediately, they sit back and wait, but time is still running. Where statute of limitations comes in. If the second mortgage was accelerated years ago and no action was taken, then there's a real question whether they waited too long. Just because a debt is quiet doesn't mean it's alive forever. So some key legal issues. When was the loan accelerated? Did the lender ever deaccelerate? Has the statute of limitations expired? Is the note unenforceable even if a lien still exists? Very important distinction here. Even if the statute of limitations runs on the note, that does not always mean the lien disappears automatically. Debt may be unenforceable in court, but lien may still cloud title in some states. Common scenarios. A 2006 to 2008 piggyback loans. No payment since the crash. No foreclosure ever filed. Now resurfacing in 2024 to 2026. That's common. What the lender will argue, we never accelerated. Each missed payment is separate. We reset the clock. Lien is still valid. What homeowners should do is pull their loan history, look for acceleration letters, default notices, track the timeline, and don't assume that the debt is enforceable. Some of these second mortgages have been sleeping for years, and when they wake up, the first question should be, did the lender run out of time? Do you have a second mortgage that you haven't paid in years? Has the lender contacted you recently? Every state is different, and there are cases that are very fact specific. So don't assume it's time barred without reviewing your timeline. Now, if you're in New York, there's something very important you need to know. The law changed, and it changed in favor of homeowners. It's called FAPA, the Foreclosure Abuse Prevention Act. What is it? It passed in 2022. It was designed to stop lenders from playing games with the statute of limitations, repeatedly restarting the clock. Why FAPA exists? Before FAPA, lenders would accelerate the loan, let the time run, then deaccelerate and restart the clock. They were hitting the reset button over and over. What FAPA changed? It limits deacceleration. Lenders cannot just undo acceleration easily. It locks on the timeline. Once accelerated, the clock matters. It stops repeated foreclosure attempts and prevents endless refilings. FAPA was designed to stop banks from running out the clock and then pretending the clock never started. How this helps homeowners. It makes the statute of limitations stronger, it reduces lender manipulation, and it gives borrowers real leverage. FAPA doesn't automatically win your case, but it changes the rules in favor if the timeline supports it. So if your loan was accelerated years ago and the lender tries to revive it today, FAPA may prevent them from doing that if you're in New York. Now here's some other states let's look at, okay? The 3 to 4 year states, and that's, pretty short timelines for statute of limitations. California, Texas, Pennsylvania, Nevada. Nevada's only 3 years, imagine that. Mississippi's 3 years, South Carolina's 3 years, DC is 3 years. 5 to 6 year statutes, which is the most common. States like Florida, New York, Virginia, Georgia, Arizona, Colorado. Illinois varies, but is often longer on note enforcement. Many others fall into this range. Most states fall into the 5 to 6 year window, guys. Now let's look at the longer time states. You don't want to live in these states. Ohio is 8 years. Montana is 8 years. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa are 10 years. Wisconsin's 10 years. Louisiana is 10 years. Maine, for God knows what reason, is 20 years. And Vermont is 14 years. So, I don't know why those states have such longer timelines, but they do, if you were interested in knowing that. I guess I'll never live in Maine, huh? Okay, guys, I hope this video was informative for you. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below in the comment section. If you have any questions about your own foreclosure, you can always email me, Lori, and my email address is foreclosurehelp777@gmail.com. Thank you for subscribing. If you're new to my channel, thank you. I do try to post 1 video a week to help y'all out with your foreclosure situation. And I hope everyone has a blessed day.